Okay. In case any issue in the voice, or if the voice is not clear, just ping me in the chat box, or you can also WhatsApp me. I'll just make sure everything is perfect. Okay, let's start now. So in SAP ABAP, we have a concept called conversions. Now, what is conversions? Conversions is a concept in which we're going to get the data from non-SAP systems to SAP systems. Non-SAP to SAP. In some cases, in rare cases, we might also have to bring the data from SAP to SAP. So let's understand some scenario here. Let's say our company is, so we have Tata Motors. Now for Tata Motors, MRF is the vendor. Actually, why it's vendor? It supplies tires. Okay, supplier is called vendor. Supplier is called vendor. Now, when we have this vendor, if Tata Motors is working on SAP software, MRF might not be on SAP. In fact, like both are in SAP. I'm just taking an example here. So if that is the scenario, then we have to do some exchange of data between MRF and Tata Motors. So that's something where we have to do that exchange of data. This exchange of data does not come under conversions. Okay, exchange of data does not come under the conversions, the day-to-day operations. What comes under conversions is, for example, there is a client, again I'm taking Tata Motors only. Now Tata Motors is actually working on, let's say, Oracle, some Oracle software. Now they are completely moved to SAP. Now if they have completely moved to SAP, all the data, information that they had, the vendor list, customer list, or the transactions, material details, all these things have to be also moved from Oracle to SAP. Okay, all these things also have to be moved from Oracle to SAP. For that reason, we have to have some mechanism. Now, we can't expect data entry guys to sit and day and night enter the data manually in SAP. No, that does not happen. We automate the process. Automate loading of data from some non-SAP to SAP. Now, this is what actually the automation of process to move the data from non-SAP to SAP, mostly at the initial stage of the project. Mostly, okay. It need not be only at that time. It can be any other time also. Non-SAP to SAP. If you want to move a lot of data, a huge amount of data, if you want to move from non-SAP to SAP, we automate the process in the conversions concept. Okay, so this is about the conversions. Conversions is that concept. Okay, so all of you are clear with what exactly is conversions, right? Conversions is all about a one-time loading of data. That's one way of loading of data. It's not about the exchange of data. Exchange of data will come in the cross applications, but here in conversions we'll only use the movement of data from non-SAP to SAP, and that too we have from the notepad and all.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So now let us understand the process, how it works. Okay, conversions concept is all clear for everyone, right? Can I move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please let me know if anyone want me to repeat. I'll be happy to do that. Okay. So now this is a funda. Okay. Now let's go into the concept. Now, what is the general practice is we will get the data from some. We'll actually get this data from some Java or whatever to a flat file. Now, what do I mean by flat file? Example, I'll take this Notepad or WordPad or Excel or whatever. Okay, we actually dump the data into some flat file, and from there we'll move to the SAP. Okay, this is a general practice in conversions. Okay, we have other concept like BAPI. BAPI can directly talk to Java system and get the data from here without a flat file. But again, that's a different concept. But in general, this is the process that we do. We always suggest the client to give the data in some flat file so that that can be moved ahead into the SAP system. Now, in some cases, like let's say there is a Swiss bank account details. Okay, the Swiss bank account details, if they are implementing SAP, all the Swiss bank account details are given to you. Okay, so let's say it's given to Abhishek. Okay, and what Abhishek will do, Abhishek will actually share this information with some government of India or someone. It becomes a major issue because people like Sham Prasad, Santan, Nivedika, all these Swiss bank accounts will be exposed to the media, and it becomes a big issue for them and for the entire country as well, right? So that should not happen, right? So the data which has to be confidential have to be confidential only. So now what happens here is like we SAP has another mechanism that instead of going ahead with the flat file, which is a presentation server file, this is called presentation server file. What is the presentation server file? The notepad, wordpad, whatever we are doing. So it can be exposed to anyone. If you open, it will be visible. But then again, there is something called application server file, guys. Application server file will actually will be in the application tab. Okay, I'll just show you that. Application server. Actually, initially, if you remember, we discussed about 3-tier architecture. Just want to show you that quickly. 3-tier architecture. So here, the flat file which we are talking about, the Excel file, Notepad file, Word document, whatever it might be, that is actually stored in your local server, local system here. So if let's say Sayantan has stored it, then Abhishek will not be able to see it, Nivedita will not be able to see it, because it is all stored in a local system, guys. Local system, okay? Now, and this is also not preferable when it is run by someone else. See, in the organization, it need not be always the same person who will be loading the data. In fact, we will normally not load the data manually. We'll always schedule them in a background jobs, which actually schedules in the non business hours, so that business does not impact. Right, so those all things can happen on an application server file. Application server file comparatively is stable. Why it's stable? Because data application server will be always be available for the execution of the program, and we will actually place the file here in the application server file. Application server. So how do we actually place that, and how do we make use of that application server file also we'll discuss. But right now what are we doing is we are actually focusing on loading the data from your local system, guys. So we'll see the program and different possibilities to do that. Now what we will be learning is we will be learning about getting the data from flat file into our screens, SAP screens. And from there we get the data into DB tables. Now remember, when you have done the database tables, you always took an option of display and maintenance allowed. Now what happens for SAP standard tables? You will not be able to update the data directly at the database table level, because database table actually needs to have some validations. So I cannot just type customer number as hash and then enter, save it. See, this is not a valid customer name. We know that, but if you update the data in database table, maybe it will update it. So there should be some validations, and that validations happen at the screen level. So if let's say you want to load the data into LFA1 table, this is vendor table, guys. Okay, you might already be knowing it, but if you don't remember immediately, the data actually LFA1 is the table which actually stores all the vendor details. Let's say we want to store the data into LFA1 database table from where? From the flat file. To be precise, Notepad. To be precise, you want to do it from Notepad. Okay, so you want to do it from Notepad. Now the flat file is notepad. Okay, and from here you want to load the data into the LFM1. You cannot do that directly. You have to do it through screen. So what we do is we have to do it through screen. And what is the screen number? MK01. MK01 is a transaction code from which if we update the data from MK01 screen, it goes and sits in LFM1, guys. Okay, so for every specific table we'll have every specific table will have specific screens. Every specific table will have specific screens, and we have, this is what we are going to focus on in the first project, wherein we'll load the data from notepad to the screens and from screens to elephant. But there is one more step here. Technically, from ABAP point of view, technically from notepad we have to get this data into internal table, guys. We have to pick that data and we have to put it in the internal table. Okay, whichever data from whatever source it's coming, whether it might be application server file or flat file, we have to first get into the internal table, and that internal table we have to put it into loop. Okay, and loop what will happen, it will bring the data from into the work area, and from here, from the work area, we actually keep this data in the screens. Okay, every time the program gets into that screen, automatically that loop will be executed, and every time new record will come. Okay, technically it just don't get into that. After doing the project anyways, you'll understand that. Okay, now the screens to tables. Now what are we going to do is we are going to write a program, guys. We're going to write the program which actually enables all this process. Now if you enter the data and save it in the screens, automatically it will be getting into the tables because it's predefined. See, we are not going to define that MK01 if you enter it should enter into the LFM1. No, it is not required because that's a predefined SAP standard concept. Okay, now we have to focus on only getting the data from notepad to internal table. From internal table we have to loop it, and then we have to get the data into the screens. This is what we have to do. Okay, is this clear? So this is what we have to do. Like,
Yes, sir.
now let's do
Sir,
that now. Yeah,
Sir, one thing. Sir, every specific table will be having a specific screen. Yes.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And actually, how do we have to find out what transaction, what are the transaction codes, and how to define the tables? Also, we will have some process for that. Tricks. Okay, I'll tell you the tricks later. Okay, because see, MK01 is there. This is for vendor. So whatever vendor related details will start with the MK. Okay, whatever transaction codes will start with MM. MM is for material data. MM01 is for create material creation. Okay, and then we have, so all the material related transaction codes will start with MM. All the vendor related transaction codes will start with MK. All the customer related transaction codes will start with the database tables will start with K, and this will be coming with XK and something like that. Okay, XK01 is for vendor customer creation. Then we have say something like sales order creation, VA01. So all the sales related tables, all the sales related transaction codes will start with VA01. If you remember the first two digits, you can simply go into the SE93 transaction and check what are the related transaction codes that we have. And also we can get into a standard table wherein we can see the list of all the all the transaction codes, because normally everyone will get it out. How do we actually get to know about the transaction code and all? Okay guys, so I'm going into SE93.
Sir, SE93 is for TMG creation or for to check this?
It is for transaction code creation. It's a simple process, guys. Actually,
Okay.
See what happens here is, let's say you have already created a program. Okay, what the transaction code? We can create our own transaction code. Okay. Now here, let's say we have a simple program, guys, for say KN1 data. Sorry. See, there is a program behind it. For every transaction, every program that we have a program behind it. Now, this is more technical. This evaporator, whatever you are seeing, is technical. If the end user, let's say some end user want to see the list of all the customer data in his organization. He is working in some sales department or someone. He does not know SAP. He just know the functionality in Tata Motors. He is working in sales department. He just want to see the customer details. So if he wants to see the customer details, he cannot have the access to SC38. SC38 access will not be given to him because that's only for technical team. Now this program we are writing it for the end users. So how do we actually present it to him? How do we give it to the end user? What we do is we copy the program, create a transaction for that, guys. I'll go for ZVA underscore say ZVA ZVA cust. Okay, just ZVA cust, and I'll go for customer details, and I'll go for selection screen, programs and selection screen. You might have already done it in module pool program, but module pool program you might have done in the program and screen. Here you have to do the screen. Okay, and then you can give the program name here, save it. I'm selecting in local object. Okay, now here ZVA cust is there, right? So ZVA cust, you can just go here now. Now that we have created it, ZVA cust is what you are going to give to the end user. Okay, when we use it ZVA cust, when we create ZVA cust, we will get this screen, guys. So actually end users need not know what is happening in the backend. All they want is this screen, right? So in this way we create a transaction code. Okay, you might have already created transaction code. So now the trick here is, you all know that all the vendor related transaction codes will start with MK. So we'll go for MK star and just go for the search. You'll get the list of all the transaction codes which will start with MK. Okay, these are all the transaction codes, and you can get the description here. By seeing the description, you can know what exactly it will do. Okay, I'll go for star. It will give you the details of all the material related details. So in this way, this is a trick, guys. So you just have to focus on the first two letters, and I have just given an example of 2, 3. I have given MK, XK, VA. But later, if you see some transaction code and you just catch the first two letters, and according to that, we have to do it. Right? So this is about the customer. Now, getting back to our process of conversions, let's get back to the conversions concept. So we have some tricks. What I'm trying to tell you is we have some tricks to identify, and going forward, you'll get to know that. Okay. Now, coming back to our conversions concept, now that for all the conversion concepts, whatever might be the concept, it is always like the process is same. Ultimately, the conversions concept wants to bring the data from somewhere to SAP system. That's it. Simple logic. But in this, we again have types. We have call transaction. We basically have the BDC. BDC stands for batch data conversion, or it is also called as communication also, guys. In some books they will give it as batch data conversion. Actually, batch data communication is what was the original abbreviation, batch data communication. Now, but communication actually means two ways, right? So that's the reason people have changed it to conversion. Originally it was used as communication, but what do you mean by communication actually? I speak to you, you speak to me, that's communication. One way is not communication, right? So that's the reason it was converted. Anyways, in this BDC, and then we have LSMW. LSMW stands for Legacy System Migration Workbench. LSMW. And then the third one happens to be BAPI. Okay, in BAPI again we have direct input method and all. BAPI stands for Business Application Programming Language. Okay, now here this is for conversion of data, and BAPI can be used both for it's a hybrid process, guys. It can be used for conversions, it can be used for communication also. It can be used for conversions, it can be used for communication also. Okay, now These are the various concepts that we use in conversions to get the data. Okay, so in this we have something called direct input method. In direct input method, what will happen? You don't have to do anything. All that you need to do is direct input.
Sir, it's a programming interface, na?
Which one?
BAPI.
Yeah. Interface. Yeah. Who was that? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Who is this?
Trupti.
Yeah, Tripti. Thanks for correcting me, Tripti. That was good. Yeah. Thank you. So we have this direct input method. So direct input method is something where you just have to give the program, guys. Just give the program name, and there will always be a standard program. Okay. See, MK01 is a standard transaction. It is not something which we created. This is not created by you. See, module code programming, you created your own transaction codes. You created everything on your own. So that are user defined screens. For that, you have to write the conversion concept and all. But direct input method, MK01 is a standard transaction code. For that, there will be a standard program which can be used. Okay, there is already standard program with starting with something R, something like that. So that program can be used to directly give the data. All that you have to do is you have to give the flat file link, okay, flat file path you have to give, and then it will be loaded. So there is nothing that we can do in a direct input method. No changes, nothing. If you have made some changes into the transaction code also, you cannot edit that. These all the things will happen there. Okay, guys. Now. So in BDC again, in this BDC concept that we are discussing right now.
Sir, your voice is breaking in between.
Is it so? Okay, just a minute. In that case, I'll change the network. Is it happening for everyone, guys?
No,
sir, not that
rarely. Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay. Because for everyone it's happening, then the issue will be from my side. If it's only for
It's not like that, sir. It breaks once, so.
Okay. Let me know. I'll try to change the network if it's happening regularly. Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead with the batch data conversion. Okay, batch data conversion. In this again we'll have two topics, two ways of doing it. One is call transaction method. Another is session method. One is the call transaction method and another is session method. These are the two ways in which we can get the data. We can bring the data from somewhere and get it into our SAP system. Okay. So this is about the BDC concept. And now we will do call transaction method and we will do session method. Then we will understand the differences, guys. If we right now get into theoretical concept, because we don't know anything about it, it will be slightly confusing. So we will first now go into the call transaction concept and we will go ahead with the steps. Fine. So we'll go ahead with the call transaction method. In BDC we have one method called call transaction method, and we'll do that now. And for this we are picking up MK01, which is easy for us to understand because our motive right now is to understand the entire steps and get it done, and then we can do it for some complicated transaction codes as well. MQ01 is a pretty simple one, guys. So vendor update. So it will enable us to update the data from flat file into the MK01 transaction, and then later we can check this in LFA1 table. You can check it in the LFA1 table. So now let's do that. Now for that, I'm taking some notepad. I'll be creating a notepad because in the actual project the data will be given by the client. Maybe client might not give you the exact data. They might give you near to real time data. They'll just pick some records and send it to you so that you can test it and make sure that it is working accordingly. Fine. So we'll go ahead with that notepad, and from there we'll get the data into internal table. And from internal table we have to do it into the work area, and from work area we need to get into the screens. Now to get the data from work area into the screens, what we need to do is we need to do the recording. This recording enables us to record everything that we do on the screen. So we initially only will do the recording, and we will see if in the first screen we have 4 fields, okay, but you have entered only input in the 3 fields. Now what fields you have given the input and what are the values that we have given, everything will be recorded in the recording. Now we will make use of this recording to actually automate the process. So what we do is in the recording, first time when you open the recording, after recording, you can see that in the screen 1 you have given the value as something like 1 2 3 4 5. You can see that. Now what we'll do is we'll replace this value with work area field. Now what we do in the work area, every time new record will come, right? So that new record value we are going to give it from the work area. So the concept is we comment the hard coded value which we have got in the recording, and we'll replace that hard coded value with the work area fields, so that every time it comes into the loop, and we'll keep them in the loop, guys. Okay, so in the loop, every time new record will come into the work area. If you understood, okay. If you are not understood, also is okay, because once we do the programming, you can understand it easily. Okay. Now let's start doing it. So first and foremost is what I'll do is I'll create a flat file. Okay, I'll create a flat file. Then I will do manual upload of data. Just I'll go to, what do I mean by manual update of data is I'll go to MK01 transaction, and then we have to MK01 transaction, and from here we just need to update the data manually, and then we do the recording, and we'll save this recording in some program. Okay, we'll save this program, we'll save this in the some program, and then manual update of data, flat file and recording, save the program. The recording, we have to save it in the program, and then we'll come back to the main program, and we just copy the recording from the above program. Okay, this is just a recording program. We get that into the recording, and then here in the main program, what we do is we use GUI underscore upload. This is a function model, guys, standard function model, to bring the data from the flat file to internal table. So to get the data from step 1 is to get the data first into the internal table, right? So from the flat file to internal table, if you have to get the data, it needs to be done through GUI underscore upload. Clear? GUI underscore upload actually gets the data from there to there. Now after that, after getting the data from internal table, then we'll loop it and we'll do the process in the program. Okay. So the other steps I will tell you. First, let us clear with this concept. Okay. Let me first go to the I'll create a flat file, because I know what are the fields that are required. I'll just normally do that. I'm creating a notepad. I'm creating this 5678 tab 0001 tab. I'm using tab. So these are the values that I'm going to give it in that tab. And then we have title is the title, and have something like search term. Search term is SAP tab. Country is India tab. INR. Second record, I'll give it as something like 8 9. Let's have some names here. One more name, please.
Kumar Pratik.
Pratik.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Pratik. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just save this record. Save as. And I'm going to give this as something like mk01. Okay, mk01.txt. Oh, it's already there. So I'll give it as mk01 underscore new. Now what we do is assume that this is the flat file given by client. Now what are you going to do? You are going to do manually. We are going to get into the SAP system and open mk01 transaction. Now this is the mk01 transaction, guys. So according to the flat file, normally what happens is when they give the flat file, they'll also give the headings. Okay, 5678. I'm going for 5678 now. 0001 and 0001. So once any vendor number is already updated manually, that needs to be removed from the flat file, because in the flat file it becomes a duplicate record. Okay, to avoid that, what I'll do is I'll enter some values which are not there in the flat file. I'll go for 5677. Okay. Okay, it says that in this particular server which I am using, some functional guys have updated that you have to enter text. I mean, like you have to say, you use alphabets. So I'm using A5677. So there's no record for that, so I can go ahead with that. So at least one alphabet is mandatory here. Okay, that's how they have configured in the backend. But in your case, in your system, that might not be the case. So it all have to, we have to just decide that. Let's check that. Okay, so I'll just say enter here. Here we'll go for stop. One more name, please. I'll go for Miss. Anyone name? Okay, so I'm giving it as Nivedita, and here I'm giving it as SAP, and the country is India. Even though there are other fields which are there here, I'm just giving those fields which are mandatory, because these are mandatory fields without which you cannot go to the next screen. Okay, and these mandatory fields also can be added or removed by the functional team in the backend. So it might vary for person to person. Just say enter.
Sir, screen is stuck. Are you voice?
No, it's processing.
Okay, sir.
It was processing for a long time. Now in this screen I'm not giving anything. Okay, I'm just saying and say enter, and here also I'm not giving anything, and then in this currency I'm giving INR. So these are all the values that we have here. I gave search term as SAP, I gave country as India, and I gave the I'm now giving the currency as INR. These are the only inputs that we are giving here. Enter, and it got saved. Now that we have done it manually, let's go and check if the Nivedita record is been updated in the LFA1 table, because that is what we are supposed to do that, right? Okay, let me once again repeat what I said. What I'm trying to do is, now we have updated the data in MK01 manually, guys. I manually uploaded it. Now we should be able to see that in LFE1. Only then we can find it out. We can confirm that data is getting uploaded there. Okay. Once we confirm that, we'll start the automation of the process. SC11. I'll go to LC11. We'll go to LFA1 table, display. Contents. I'll go for today's date, guys. Today, whatever records have been updated today, I just want to see that. ERDOT, execute. Now this is the record that we have, Nivedita's record. So you can see that we have updated LFNR. Country is land 1 and name, and then we have SAP, and then we have address number is automatically generated, guys, and miss. Okay. Now, on which date it was created and who created it is automatically updated. See, we have not done it. It is automatically updated by the system. Today's date is updated, and the login with which I used is automatically updated. So what I'm trying to tell you is a couple of values will be automatically updated default by the system, and couple of things which we have updated. I hope this is clear now. Now that we have confirmed that data, whatever we are doing in MK01 is getting updated to LFA1, we'll go further for the recording. So what is the second step right now? Second step is manual upload of data. The manual update of data, we have done it. Now we'll go for recording. Recording has to be done in SHDB transaction, guys. There is a transaction code called SHDB. So we're going to do the recording there. So let's do that now. So whatever we have given, the same thing we are going to do in the SHDB transaction now. SHDB, I'm going into SHDB, and in this you'll click on new recording. SHDB, new recording, and you can give the name, any name. Okay, recording name can be any name. It can be like vendor upload, vendor recording, or something like V vendor record. Okay, I'm just giving manually, whatever you want. But the transaction code should be exactly the same. You cannot give whatever transaction you want. You have to give that exact transaction code for which you want to start the recording. So that now virtually this transaction code will be opened in the next screen, and that is where the recording will start. Now I am starting the recording. Okay. When I start the recording, everything that we do right now will be updated. So I'll go for 4776. Okay. 0001. Just say enter. Mr. Mr. and then I'll give Jagdish. Okay, Jagdish CH, and I'm giving search term as SAP and country as India. Enter. Now I'm not giving anything in the third screen. I'm not giving here also anything. I'm just giving this order currency and save. Now that we have done the recording, you can see all the recording here, guys. Everything is seen here. Now if you observe carefully, each screen whatever we give is split into a different one. Now if you see here, this is the screen 1. In screen 1 we are giving the LFNR value. The field name is displayed here. Okay. Field name is displayed here. So we have this EKORG, KTOKK. Now here these three are there. So for these three we have given some values here. And for the second screen we have the title, name, and this what here. So these are the things that we are giving here. And the third screen, if you observe, we have not given anything. So there's nothing that we have given in the third screen. And fourth screen also we have not done anything. We just clicked on enter. So even when I clicked enter also, that has been recorded. And in the last screen, a WIRS value I gave it as INR, that is recorded. This is how recording is done. we just need to save it and back. Now what's the recording name? When record. So I have to select that recording and click on this program so that we can copy this recording into a program. Okay guys, so we are now copying this recording into a program. Now what's the program name? Z. I'm giving as something recording 10 and transfer from recording. Okay, not read from transfer from recording is what we have to select, and we have to say OK, and then we have to go for new record. Executable. OK. Just click on source code. We have to click on the source code now, and if you see the source code, you can see this all things happening there. Everything will be seen there. Now there are also other ways of doing it. I mean, like transfer from file, and there are a lot of other ways, but right now this is the way which we are following right now. So if you see here, include PDCRX, everything is done now. Perform close group. It's done. Okay. So now if you observe here, we need to manually split this into different different screens. Till here, this is the first screen. Okay, this is the first screen details. In the first screen details, if you see here, this A5676, whatever I updated here, also 00100, whatever I updated is been visible here. Okay, great. Now what we have done, we just saved everything in a program. Now what did we do? We went into the recording, saved that program, and now we need to open the main program and use the GUI_upload to actually get this data into our internal table, and then from internal table the recording. Okay, these all things will be in the main program. So let's do that now. So let me create a main program in SE38. Now I'll go for ZBA underscore when call transaction. Call transaction. Okay. So create in this, first and foremost is we need to first create a structure and internal table in work area, guys. So for structure, we need to first find out what are the fields that are required. Now I'm taking those fields which have been actually captured here. So in the first table, the first screen, if you see, LIFNR, EKORG and KTOKK are the fields. Okay. Now I need to create those fields in the structure. Types begin of st underscore when. I'm giving anything. You can give anything. Okay, you know that. This st underscore when can be anything of your choice. I'm giving st underscore when so that I can easily understand. St means structure, when VN is vendor. So for each project, we'll have some naming convention, guys. According to the naming conventions, we have to use that. So we have. Now, why do I give LIFNR? Because how do I give that? How do I decide that? Now, we'll go to MK01 back again. Now, in this, we'll go to MK. So, in this MK01, I'll just click F1. Function F1. It's a F1 help actually. So, if you click on F1 help, now how do you open the F1 help? I'll say again once again. I'll keep the cursor there and click on F1 function key. If F1 function key does not work, try using function. You hold the function key on your keyboard and click F1, it will work. If it doesn't work with normal F1, then you'll have this hammer button, guys. Hammer. Okay. Now click on the hammer and you'll get these details. And in this, if you see the data element, it's LIF16. Okay, LIF16 LIF16. So I can give this as instead of LIFNR, I can give LIF16 because but LIFNR also is a data element. Let me show you that one as well. LIF16 is a data element here. See here we have LIFNR. LIFNR length is 10. So I'm giving LIFNR here because in the vendor number it is 10 in the vendor table. That's the reason I've given it as LIFNR here. So now in this way we have other fields also for which we have to check the properties and do that. So let me check for the second one. Purchase organization function F1. So see here we have EKORG. Okay, data element is clear, which is EKORG. So EKORG, type EKORG. Then we have KTOKK, type KTOKK. ANRED, type ANRED. Name1, type name1 underscore GP. Name1 underscore GP because that is how it is been given there. That is how the data element is been maintained. Okay. ANRED is for title, okay. Name1, and SORTL is for the search term. SORTL. land1, type land1 underscore GP. WAERS, type WAERS. ST underscore when. That's on the table of ST underscore when. W underscore when, type ST underscore when. Now I need to keep a comma here. IT underscore when, type standard table of ST underscore when. W underscore when, type ST underscore when. Now we don't have to give the selection screen at all, guys. Okay. Now what is our intention is to bring the data from our local file to our internal table. For that, what we do is we click on this pattern and use this GUI underscore upload. Remember, we have to use the GUI underscore upload function module. So let's call that function module here pattern GUI underscore upload. And in this we have to give that file name, guys. So this file name happens to be whatever I need to give them manually. Later what we can do is we can go for function F4 function key so that we can dynamically select the file name, but here I'm hard coding the value, guys. I'm hard coding this value. So for that, in the documents I already have MK01. Let me see what is the data we have in MK01. Okay, I think this is also good. Maybe I'll go for this one only, MK01 new. I'll see the properties first. Okay, it's becoming long. So what I'll do is I'll keep this directly. In D drive or E drive. I'll keep in the drive actually. Okay, this is the one. So what we'll do is like this is the one which we have, and this is because the link. I just want to cut short the link, the length of the link. Okay, I'll go for this MK01. Okay, so what do I do is right click on this properties. This is H backslash. So what I'll do is I'll go for H backslash mk01.txt. Now just to keep this length shorter, I just chose H drive. If I would have done in documents, it would have been C drive, D, all these things. But in your case, you always use the document only, guys, because in documents only you can create a file. You will not be allowed to create a file in D drive or something. So I prefer you go for the documents only. Maybe in the next project again I'll also do documents. Okay. So hash, because I have given the field separator as hash, field separator as tab. Here I'm giving it as hash. Header length. If at all, if the first line of the file, if you have the headings of the file, then that header length should be given. But we don't have any headings. Directly we have data. So here the data has to come to IT_when. Is that the internal table name that we're given? Yes, IT_when. So that IT_when should have this data. Now we have to go ahead with this is done. GUI_upload. Now the program goes further, but let's just confirm if the data actually loaded into the internal table or not. Let's check that. And the logic that I'm writing right now is only for our verification. It has nothing to do with the actual project. Into W_when. So my intention is to show and check if the data actually loaded into the internal table or not. Just let's once check that. Activate. Hello. So you have got this data. Here, I think at the Pratik's record, I clicked tab twice. There are two tabs which it is getting it actually. So what is happening here is like this SAP is going into the country, and this one is going into the country is going into it, and the currency has washed off. So what I need to do is I need to open the flat file and remove one tab. Okay, let me do that and execute it again. Let me go to the file, and this Pratik's record, I used two tabs. I have to use only once. Okay. For rest of all the records, it's okay. Save. Now let's execute this now. Now it's coming properly. Okay. So this is done. Now we have successfully uploaded the data from the flat file into internal table. We have successfully uploaded the data from flat file to internal table. But going forward, what we'll do is now we will upload this data into through the recording. We'll upload the data into our screens, and then we will push it into it and save it. How do we do that is what I will just discuss after on the other side of the break. Okay, let's take the short break and then we'll continue. So we have done this specifically, this loop concept, we have done it only to make sure that we have the data. So we'll just go ahead with that. Okay, so this is done. After that, okay, so this is the program GUI_upload, and then we have this. Okay, now we'll go ahead with the program. So our concept is that we have got the data into the internal table. Now we need to take it forward and put it in the screen. Now the question is, how do we put it in the screen is what we are going to do now. For this, we need to also define something called IT_BDC RE RECX1, BDC RECX, type BDC RECX. So BDC RECX is actually a standard structure. BDC data. BDC data.
Sir, your voice is getting low and high.
Is it?
It's
Okay.
varying.
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
just change the network. Just give me a minute.
No, it's fine, sir. Now it's fine.
Sorry?
Sir,
Right, it is
sir, your voice is fine, but actually, I think you are moving away from the mic and then coming close. So that's why.
Oh, is it? Okay, okay.
getting high and low. Yeah.
Maybe that might be also the issue. Okay, so I'll just talk louder and nearer to the mic. Okay. Now we have this
Okay, sir.
GUI underscore upload. Okay, this is done. Now our concept is to get this data to the work area, and then from work area we have to take it forward into the screens. Now here we have BDC data. Let me show you the BDC data. Now in this we already have a standard structure called BDC data, in which we have the program, screen number, screen start, field name and field value. These are the things that we have. This is a standard structure which will be useful for us to take the data to the screens. Actually this is kind of a carrier kind of a thing. It actually does not carry the data, but it will actually carry the screen number, field name, properties and all these things. Now this is what we have, and we need to do that. And we also will declare one more work area underscore BDC data, type BDC data. So this is what we have, internal table and work area we have to define specifically for the upload of data. Okay, so this is the GUI underscore upload. After this, now we'll write the loop at IT underscore when into W underscore when. Remember, now the data is already there in the internal table. Now we are bringing one record at a time to the work area. Now in this end loop, within this loop end loop, we'll write refresh IT underscore BDC data. Now here we need to paste that recording that we have done. So let me open the recording here. So we have this. Now in this we have to go ahead with we'll comment this first value, and here we'll go ahead with the WA underscore when hyphen L-. This is the concept that you need to understand here, guys. See, what are we doing is we are getting one record at a time from internal table to work area. What is there in the internal table? That records which we uploaded from the flat file. Now that records needs to be actually taken forward into the screens. So for that, first we are getting the data into the work area, and that work area we are pushing into the screen. Now here also, this is a hard-coded value which we are commenting. This is another hard-coded value which we are commenting, and we are writing W underscore when hyphen EKORG. Now here also we are commenting it. We're doing this is KTOKK. Now this is next we have in the second screen Mr. needs to be commented, and we'll write here. See, for our comfort in the recording also, this value, hard-coded value is coming in the next line. See, actually it is the same line, but they have purposefully arranged it in such a way that the hard-coded value will come in the next line. Name 1. SRTM. Land 1. WAS. Okay, so these are all values. We have removed the hard coding and we have set it into the values. Here we'll go for call transaction MK01 using IT underscore BDC data, which we have defined. So this actually stores, as I told you, this will store the screen number and all these things. So IT underscore BDC data, mode A, update A. Now we need to understand what is mode A, what is update A. Okay, these two things we'll understand now. Okay, so what are the different types of modes and why are we giving A? See, mode, there will be 3 types of modes. For we'll have A, all screen display, E, error screen display, and no screen display. Okay, so all screen display, error screen display, and no screen display. These are 3 different types of modes that we have. And then update will have asynchronous, and synchronous. Synchronous. Now what is asynchronous, what is synchronous? Asynchronous is something wherein in which we would be actually updating. Okay, let me give you a simple example. In the school, you always used to stand for in the prayer, and from the prayer or a mass gathering. After that, how you used to disperse into the classrooms in a proper line. And what used to happen if one child stops, rest of all the people will stop in the back end. Okay, they're not going to skip. Okay, that is called synchronous. Synchronous, you can remember it as a school line. But asynchronous is like college line. In college, if somebody stops in the corridor, no one is going to care. Okay, they're going to just go from beside. Okay, just they go beside and they move on. So asynchronous is like that. So now in our records, if let's say 50th record has some issue, it has invalid data or something, from 51st record, means 50th record and 51st record, all these records will stop. No more loading of data. But in synchronous, 50th record will be stopped. After that 51st record, it will jump to the 51st record and that will be updated. So only 50th record is what we need to update manually later. Okay, so this is asynchronous. So we are going for asynchronous. So in update we'll have 2 modes, synchronous and asynchronous. And in display we'll have all screen display, error screen display, no screen display. If you say no screen display, when you execute the program, nothing will be executed. Just automatically it will come out. This is what we have. That is what we have. After this, see, in the subroutines concept, what we have is, whenever there is a perform statement, there should be a form below. For every perform statement, there should be a form below. So system will throw an error if you don't maintain the form. So how many performs are there here? There are only 2 performs. One is BDC DynPro, another is BDC field. Only these 2 are repeated again and again in the perform statements if you observe. So for that reason, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and copy the forms for it. So the forms will be already there in a include program called BDC RECX. So we'll have a standard include program called BDC RECX. BDC RECX1. So in this we'll have this. We have to go to the last, and then you have to copy these two. But the question here is, how do we remember BDC RECX1? So is there any shortcut for that? Yes, you don't have to remember it. You just go to the recording that you have got. On the top, you'll already have BDC RECX1. In fact, if your program is already in display mode, you can just double click on this and you'll get this, and at the end you'll have this. So these are the two forms that we have here. Select from here to here.
Sir, if we have that program already included, why do we have to copy the forms?
Good question. So this is actually the include program is already done in the in the recording. So if you would mention that in your program, then that is not required. So what you can do is you can just write here, include that program, include BDC RECX1, and that will not throw any error. Okay, this is also one way, and you don't have to copy that forms here. But having said that, I'm doing it manually so that we can understand the process. Going forward, you can avoid writing this and directly use the include program in your actual program. So this was already included by default in the recording. Now we are doing it in the actual program.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now here, after doing that, this clear BDC data, we have to give it as clear IT underscore BDC data, WA underscore BDC data, and then here we have WA underscore BDC data, WA underscore BDC data, WA underscore BDC data. Here append WA underscore BDC data to IT underscore BDC data. Now here we have WA underscore BDC data. Because that's the work area, into to IT underscore BDC data. Now this is done. Save, syntax check. This needs to be kept in inverted quotes. Mode A, update A, and there's one more addition that you have to do is, here we have no data, right? So here we need to change the no data with space. Save, syntax check, activate. Now once it's been done, we just need to go ahead and process. Now what will happen? All the records that we have in the internal table in the notepad will now update into the internal table. From the internal table, it comes to the work area. From the work area, it comes to the screens, and you can see the data in the screen. Okay, let's see that. Hello. Here, this is automatically coming
Yes,
here.
sir.
So automatically it's coming. I'm just clicking enter. In the real time, if you say no screen display, oh, I think in the flat file I didn't change. I didn't add a. What I'm doing on the screen is I'm clicking enter. Again here also I need to change as some a, because in the flat file maybe I didn't change that. Record updated. Okay. So here again we have a. Yeah, this is done. we have done that. Now let us go ahead and go to the SE11 and check these records in the LFA1 display. What I'll simply do is I'll check all the records that are updated today. So we have updated one record manually, one record through SHDB transaction, and 3 records now. So totally 5 records will be there on today's date. But in your case, you have to also remember the LFNR number, because all of you will be working on the same server. So chances are that we'll have a lot of records on the same day. Santan, Abhishek and Pratik. Okay, so these records have been updated in the LFA1 table. Okay. This process happens to be the call transaction method. Now that we have done complete program, I'll just copy and paste this entire program in a Word document, and I'll share it with you all.
Hello, sir.